Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier, here with you at No Soundbites Allowed. Now, in case this is the first time you've ever run into the channel, let me just introduce myself very quickly here. It'll be real brief. And if you don't know, I've been on YouTube for over a decade now. I've done something like 900 some odd videos at this point, well over 500 hours of content. I am not super huge. I'm older than the average person who has content on YouTube. This is the second channel I've had because YouTube shut down the first one. That being all said, my habits on YouTube are not new. These aren't surprising things. I am a Republican, a conservative Republican, and I do long form Republican, conservative Republican commentary. And I've been doing that for a long time, as well as interviews with all kinds of politicians and covering races and so forth. So my algorithm in YouTube has been pretty fixed, but it seems that the algorithm in YouTube has changed dramatically. I mean, dramatically. And I have to tell you, I believe YouTube is absolutely terrified that Donald Trump is going to win in the 2020 election. Now, I know you're going to say, well, Mike, look at everything that's out there. We're hearing from CNN, MSNBC, basically almost all of the major liberal news media have declared that Donald Trump can't possibly win. They have declared definitively that Joe Biden is going to win. It's a repeat of what we saw in 2016 when we were told Hillary was going to win. Hillary Clinton. Okay, fine. That's true. You hear that from the media nonstop. They are saying it because it's like a mantra. The more they say it, the more true they hope it will become. But I got to tell you, every so often YouTube changes its algorithms. And it's usually to rearrange things so that you're going to either see something more or less. That's generally it. And especially if you're more conservative and more Republican, you're going to see less and less of it. That's why a lot of people have trouble finding me, a black Republican. YouTube doesn't like that too much. So that being said, I was on, it's Friday, I'm relaxing, didn't plan to have anything done until my Sunday show, and I'm on YouTube, and all of a sudden, I found what I believe is the proof that YouTube is absolutely terrified, that social media is absolutely terrified, that all of the data, all of the polls that you hear out there, all of the analysis coming from the Democratic Party means absolutely nothing because Donald Trump is going to win. I took a screenshot of this. So this is me looking at YouTube. This is just relaxing on a Friday, just kicking back. Now, I'm going to blow this up a little bit for you so you can see it a little bit better. This is my YouTube. Look at this. So some of my recommendations. What do I look at when I'm relaxing? You're talking about Game of Thrones, thrillers, science fiction, talking about Kathleen Kennedy, in particular in reference to Star Wars, the latest trilogy, anime, Joker, RimWorld, a video game that I enjoy playing, Star Trek. I'm also a Star Wars fan, obviously. Batman, Warhammer 40K, long time fan of that. Darth Vader, love him. He's a great villain. Amber Heard, because that's something that's just been coming out lately. What you didn't see on there was also Brie Larson, checking out what people have been talking about that. It's a very interesting group. Now, what you're not seeing in there, which is very interesting, I also do a massive amount of research and I look at a lot of commentary, coverage, and news on what's going on in politics today. So, what you're not seeing in there is me checking out what's going on with Don Lemon and CNN, me checking out what's going on with the Hodge twins. You're not seeing me look up when I listen to Ben Shapiro, when I'm checking out PJ Media and Steven Crowder. Somehow that's not showing up in the search that I am constantly doing. And I'm actually subscribed to these channels of conservatives and Republicans that you're just not seeing in the little statement they have up there for all recommendations that are coming from YouTube. So the things I actually pay attention to, you're really not seeing. But that being said, this is the recommendations there. And here's their list of things that they are recommending. Please stay with me on this because you're about to see what I'm talking about. I'm about to prove what I believe is YouTube changing its algorithm because they are terrified of losing the election. So, checking this out again. So, I'm a video gamer. That's why you see the video games up there. As I mentioned, Michael Knowles. Well, I also watch Ben Shapiro. You're looking at AOC because I think Tim Cast has a great show. And you know what? AOC and what's going on in Seattle and the Chaz, very important. I love music, especially classical music. Love movies, especially sci-fi movies. All of this is making sense. The Hodge twins, as they're talking about what happened in the Chop Chaz, whatever you want to call it, that's now been dismantled. All of this makes sense, except for this one thing. This one thing doesn't make any sense. And I'm zooming in on it so you can see this as clear as day as I can. I want this to be as clear for you as me. Right in the center of your screen here. Trump vote a monumental mistake. Republican voters against Trump. What's that? I have never seen that channel before in my life. I have never viewed that channel in my life. I've never searched ever. I have never searched in the last, 3 years that Trump is a monumental mistake. That's not a search term I've ever put in. It's not one of the terms that I look for. It's not the type of content that I normally look at. It doesn't match any of the content that I actually regularly consume, unless I have a very specific news story where I'm researching and trying to find out something else, which isn't done on YouTube. I do that through the regular news media. I look at the BBC, New York Times, Israeli Times, Wall Street Journal, all the major publications, Huffington Post. Yeah, but that has nothing to do with YouTube. That's not what I look for on YouTube. And yet, somehow, for the first time ever, YouTube has decided that I need to be aware that Trump vote a monumental mistake. Republican voters against Trump. They have decided that it is absolutely essential for me to see this. Now, what you also don't see in this screenshot that I did, I scrolled down. If I scroll down, you would see that they actually have 2 different videos from that same group to me, which I find really interesting. I vote conservative and vote Republican. I'm a Republican candidate at this moment. I am running for an elected office on the Republican ticket and the conservative ticket. I'm a Trump supporter. The only time that you might have seen something, actually, I don't even really talk about President Trump very much, but you may have seen a video that I did not too long ago where I was actually one of the few people who was actually allowed when President Trump came to Utica, New York. I was the only independent news media that was allowed by the Secret Service to be cleared to cover President Trump coming off of Air Force One. I have that video. I've done it. Okay, so I'm not a Trump hater. And yet, they want me to be consuming content that says that President Trump can't win, that I, as a Republican, shouldn't vote for President Trump. You know what? When they have to change their algorithm so much that something that has nothing to do with what I do or how I consume the internet and information, that they have to introduce that to me, that they changed their algorithm specifically to target conservative Republicans that don't look for this, that aren't actively seeking out anti-Trump information and they are injecting that into my searches. They are trying to convince me, it's a subliminal attack, quite honestly, to say you should be against President Trump. Don't vote for President Trump. My God, YouTube, you are terrified. How scared are you that you changed your algorithm? And I am sure, just like what happened with Twitter when they had 600,000 conservatives that suddenly got shadow banned, that they admitted to Congress in 2018, 2019. They admitted in 2019 to Congress in congressional hearings that they banned and shadow banned 600,000 conservatives and Republicans, including members of Congress, but that was just an error. That was just a mistake. Wait a minute, how many engineers, computer engineers, software engineers does it take to create an algorithm for Twitter or for YouTube or for Google? How many people does it take on that team? Because I tell you, it's not one guy who forgot to put in a comma or a dot or a space. You're talking about teams who purposefully created a program that would very specifically do something. This isn't one guy on YouTube screwed up and now Republicans are getting anti-Republican content. No. This is YouTube changing its algorithm to specifically target conservatives and Republicans and say, don't vote for the president. Whether or not we're looking at it, they're putting that in there for us. That is a subliminal attack. That is them trying to say, don't do this. This is the group, Republican voters against Trump. I don't even know who they are. I don't even know how many members they have. I don't care. And if you want to see the content, that's fine. I haven't and I won't, because it's not meaningful to me. But what is meaningful to me is that YouTube is targeting us, that they are trying to change our minds, that they are messing with an election, which makes me think that because I am a candidate and I have a YouTube channel for my candidacy, which is separate of everything else that I do, that they are shadow banning that right now. If they have an algorithm that's telling me to not vote for Republicans, then I have to believe they are hiding the Republican content from other Republicans, people who are interested, people who are conservatives, people who have an interest in hearing a non-progressive, non-Black Lives Matters political, progressive leaders of tomorrow, non-AOC kind of viewpoint, which is pretty much the majority of America. And so they're hiding us. So if you ever wondered, gee, is social media being manipulated? Is YouTube, is Facebook, is Twitter manipulating? And they have admitted this to Congress. The answer is yes. And if you wanted proof about that happening right now and that they are trying to influence the 2020 election, here's the proof right now. Content that was never requested, has nothing to do with any of my content, any of the things that I actually look at, anything that I am interested in. It has nothing to do with my life or my interests. And guess what? They're giving it to me anyway. They're trying to change our votes. You may not like President Trump. You don't have to. I don't care. If you don't like President Trump, that's fine. You don't want to vote for President Trump, that's fine. Whether you're a Republican, conservative, libertarian, you're a Democrat, a progressive, I don't care. That's your American right to make that choice for yourself. And you can choose whatever you want. I believe if you look at the data and the information, and more importantly, Joe Biden, and evaluate the choices you have there, you're probably going to pick President Trump. Apparently, YouTube agrees with me that if you're actually looking at the data and you're paying attention to what's going on in the race, the answer is you're going to vote for President Trump. And because they are terrified of that, they have decided to go out and try and influence people subliminally. They know I'm not going to check. I'm going to click on that. They know I'm not going to pay attention, except they're hoping one day I misclick and maybe I check that out. They're hoping that just having the suggestion, that Republicans are not going to vote for Trump means that I won't. Maybe I may not. Maybe they can influence me. Just like why we see so many ads for jeans or Nike sneakers, and why we have all those stars out there who are promoting all the brands so that you can buy it. Because if you see it enough, you're going to go with it. Well, it's not working with me. And I'm calling out YouTube, and I am calling out social media, but specifically in this case, YouTube, that they are messing with algorithms to mess with our elections. And that is wrong. I don't care what you believe. No one should be influencing unduly without your permission, without your interest, that they are changing your content, what you're receiving, the information that you're trying to find, that they are throwing this in there, trying to influence you without your permission, without your attention. You know what? I disagree with that. I disagree with that 1,000%. You know, it's a short video. I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, I'm a conservative Republican. I have never looked for this content, and YouTube is injecting it into my channel. They are injecting it into my searches. And you know what? I hate that. I think that's the worst thing you could possibly do, and that is evil. YouTube, if you want to come out and say you don't support President Trump, make a press release, make an announcement, make a video, put it on your channel and say, hey, folks, we just want you to know this is our political viewpoint. At least that's honest. Be honest with us. But don't do something dishonest like giving me some kind of site that I've never asked for from a group I don't care about on a subject that I disagree with. Because you hope that that's going to subliminally trying to change my mind. I'm sorry, that's not going to work, and I'm going to call it out every time. This has nothing to do with the organization. What are those guys named? Republican Voters Against Trump. You know what? It's not against them because they're content creators. I don't know if they're Democrats and they're paid for by Democrats. I don't care. They have their content. Let them go for it. They probably got more views than I do. They probably have, well, I don't know, I have 300,000. So maybe they have more subscribers than I do. I don't care. Good for them. That's what YouTube's about. But I will tell you this. I'm pissed at YouTube, the management, that they are shadow banning people and they are manipulating their algorithms to try and shove an idea down the throats of the public without being at least honest enough to say that they're doing it. It's wrong, and you should share this with other people, and I bet there are other people who are having this happen, and I hope that some of the other people, like Michael Knowles, like Ben Shapiro, like PJ Media, and Steven Crowder, I'm just going off the top of my head, the Hodge twins, maybe everyone else is going to notice this, and they're going to start talking about it too. I hope I get their attention to let them know, look for this. The algorithm has changed, and YouTube is being deceptive. They're shuffling from the bottom of the deck, and it's wrong. But if you disagree, folks, let me know. I want to hear your comments. I want to see your thoughts on this. Have you had this happen to you? Do you think it's right? Were you told about it by YouTube? Please let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. Thank you.